Tonight on 7 Up Front, another possible consequence of the war, growing fears of a Russian cyber attack against critical infrastructure over U.S. support for Ukraine. Joining me this evening, Thomas Holt, director and professor at Michigan State University's School of Criminal Justice. Professor Holt, thanks for being there tonight.
Thank you for having me.
You do research on hacking, malware, internet crime. What are you most concerned about after hearing warnings from President Biden and U.S. intelligence over the possible hacking that could take place?
In my mind, this is very concerning because the Biden administration has been relatively forthcoming about the intelligence that they have. Prior to the physical conflict, they were saying there will be an attack. So to hear they're expecting an attack against our critical infrastructure means that it may be likely.
Are there typically warning signs of an impending cyber attack, and can anything be done to prevent it?
It depends. In some cases, yes, you can sense or you can at least detect certain incoming traffic that would suggest an attack is coming. In this case, it's possible that's what's been observed. The bigger challenge is that when we talk about critical infrastructure like the power grid, these are very difficult targets to attack and they're very structured. So something that affects these resources may be harder to stop while it's in process.
Do we know the kind of capability the Russians have for this type of attack? I mean, it starts, I guess, with smart people trying to do what they know.
Absolutely. The Russian nation state is very well equipped for cyber attacks. There's evidence that they've been able to probe our critical infrastructure, especially the power grids, since the early to mid 2000s. So I suspect that they have the tools that they might need to be effective.
Now, we've heard the warnings. So what can we all do to protect ourselves if that's necessary in the event of any type of a cyber attack?
There's a few different things. So one would be on the home front to get an electrical generator if you're especially concerned about loss of power or have resources in your home that need it. But in general, a better way to think about this is in your working life, being very careful about the emails that you receive and what you respond to. Typically with a very targeted cyber attack, it begins with a phishing email, someone trying to get information from you, getting you to click on a link or something else. So that's an important warning sign and first step in a lot of cyber attacks.
And we hear a lot of those warnings in practical terms. How many people, if you know, how many people fall victim to phishing schemes and cyber attacks?
Thousands, if not hundreds of thousands every year. Phishing attacks are financially motivated. They can be tailored for nation states to get into sensitive networks. So it's something that happens with great frequency.
Plenty of work for certainly the Biden administration and the U.S. government with everything going on around the world and trying to protect things at home here as well. We thank you for being with us tonight, Professor Holt.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Professor Holt is the director and professor at Michigan State University's School of Criminal Justice. And we'll be right back.